It was so unique, and it was so impactful, and it wasn't just an inch or an inch and a half of snow or a dusting of snow. It was a high-impact, legit winter storm in the Deep South, and it was fascinating.
I'm here at the Highlands in Dothan, where everyone has been taking in this historic day. It's not every day that we get snow like this at the southeast.
It was crazy. It was a wonderful kind of experience. It was an out-of-body experience, too.
But my advice to people would be to get to where you need to be by a little after noon tomorrow and plan on being there for at least 24 hours.
I remember being a small kid and it snowed pretty good, but nothing like we experienced last year.
Yeah, we really didn't think it'd be that bad.
But I really didn't think it was going to be that much.
Enterprise, Midland City both leading the way at 8 inches, 7 inches in Andalusia, 7 inches as well in Donaldsonville, 6 inches in Geneva.
It's magical. It's something you always want to see. You want to experience it. Sometimes you get to miss a few days of school, which is always a plus.
A snowstorm is different. People have memories. The pictures that were shared of making snowmen, for example, or snow angels. I mean, there are so many good memories that come out of a significant event like a snowstorm compared to a tornado event or a big wind event or a hurricane event.
We don't know what ice is. We really don't.
All of the county roads in southeast Alabama are closed. That includes Geneva County. That includes Coffee County. So make sure that you keep that in mind. If you are at home, snuggled up, just had a fun snow day watching this wall-to-wall coverage that we've been providing to you since 2 o'clock this afternoon, well, hey, thank you so much. But if you are thinking about going somewhere...
We had the Arctic air come in, which was very, very important. And not just down here where we live. The depth of the atmosphere has to be below 32 degrees. And that cold air was very deep in the atmosphere, came all the way down into the Gulf. We had a jet stream pattern that featured a spin in the atmosphere out west that moved into the western Gulf, spun up low pressure, and then traveled off to the northeast. So all the key ingredients were in place.
And if you look behind me, this is a certain level of our park that we usually use to go out and really celebrate some events outside during the summer. And you can see how deep this is. When I was making a snow angel, I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to step like my foot. And if I get all in right there, look at that. That's like ankle deep.
Last year, a generational storm like we saw, and the snowfall and the road conditions, how it affected families, and really it put a big strain on the system. And
all the way into near Turtle World. So this is something I hope I never see again.
Next morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, one of our judges calls me and says he had been out there for over 24 hours. When the sun came up, we went to work. Investigators all have four-wheel drive trucks and winches, so we just started pulling people out one by one. The National Guard came in and helped us with the big trucks, but we pulled, throughout the day. We brought lunch out there and we just kept pulling people out. We tried to open up that section of roadway as quick as we could, but it was definitely a stress on the system that day.
200 people were stranded overnight. That is a lot. Our first responders have been working countless hours to try to get the lanes open.
Seeing those people stranded out there with really nothing. I mean, nobody can get to them just due to the road conditions. Running out of gas. We had to, haul in gas and take, there's nurses out there, there's doctors out there, there was a lot of first responders out there that are trying to go to different, Troy and Dothan So we took several people to work, and we left their cars there, and we hopped in the truck with a deputy who's got a four-wheel drive and a winch, and drove them to the Troy Hospital or drove them to Flowers or the medical center. We did that numerous times throughout the night.
It's kind of like a hurricane in a way, a big snowstorm, because you can see it coming from days away, and then it evolves and it creates a path of destruction, as in a hurricane, or a path of snow, as in a big snowstorm. And they're all different, and you can pretty much pinpoint where the worst impacts are going to be, but within that broader zone of impacts, you've got certain bands that set up of higher damage in a hurricane or more significant snow in a storm. So a lot of similarities. They're all different because you have so many different layers in the atmosphere that impact how much snow will fall in any given storm.
And I'm 56 years old, and this is once in a lifetime right here.
First responders in Coffee County had their work cut out for them during yesterday's historic snowstorm.
So we had everybody trying to get home and get back to their businesses or get away from work, and they all got stranded up on 167 and 125. Roads got slick, 18-wheelers couldn't pull the hills.
We don't have snow plows in this counties. We just got wheel and grit and vinegar, what do you want to call it? We're going to get there. Chainsaws and men and ladies that want to help.
It's unbelievable outside. We are in the depths of winter. It feels like we're somewhere in the Midwest or the Northeast, not down here in the deep South.
I grew up with snow. The first 8 years of my career was working in snow markets and predicting snow and living in snow and dealing with snow, so very accustomed to winter. In that 7 to 10 day window leading up to that event, there were signs in the modeling that the ingredients necessary for big snow were coming together. It's always hard to believe 7, 10 days out, but looking at it meteorologically, I mentioned this on air, all the different parameters needed for big snow were looking to come together 7 to 10 days out.
You can see it pretty well looking at the dark windows. This is some pretty good snow. This is going to come down at about 1 inch per hour, and it will keep coming down for, 4 o'clock now, probably the next 3 to 3.5 hours, and it is really going to accumulate pretty quickly. And we're going to get into this heavier snow band here and stay in it for a few hours. So best to stay indoors. If you have to be out to go play in it, wear the layers. Hand protection is key, and that's really no joke because you can have frostbite occur when you get your fingers wet and you get some evaporational cooling on your skin. It can bring down that skin temperature.
But we are so excited. We are thankful for extra time with our family and just the gift of snow.
What do you think about snow for your first time?
It's crazy. I mean, it's fun to play in, and it's just like, it's something new. Not something you see every day.
And it has accumulated all throughout the day. Here at Hugh Owens Stadium in Geneva, I'm looking over at the football field to my left, and you can't even differentiate between the track and the field because of how much snow has accumulated. But if you take a look here at the steps here in the stadium, you can really see how much snow has accumulated.
If you have to drive in that kind of a snow event, it's not fun at all because the roads ice over. The snow was blowing that evening, and traveling was very, very difficult. Now, many people were having a lot of fun in the snow.
I've been in a two-wheel drive vehicle in the past, in the sheriff's vehicle, and do 360s up the road. So we knew that we couldn't use those type vehicles. So we were isolating and delegating of what was going to be out working. So we didn't want any two-wheel drive vehicles on the road.
I took a coworker home that night of the 21st, and I have a truck, not four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, and that truck was not very fun to drive in the snow. It was sliding around like crazy. So even someone like me who's grown up in the snow knows how to drive in it, it was still challenging.
You have to think about the conditions that people were in last night. Temperatures in the teens, locked in their cars for hours. One woman telling me that she was almost out of gas. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, that is something I honestly couldn't imagine going through. I'm so glad that everyone is okay. I'm sure it felt like forever. I mean, look at this video on the screen. There's a lot of 18-wheelers just at a pause due to the ice and the snow. And like we were talking about yesterday, it is a good day to make some good memories at home with friends and family. But then there's also the bad news like this and the memories you don't want to make. Tragic news during this winter storm. One person was killed this afternoon in a two-vehicle crash in Dale County. Maya Stearns of Madison is the victim. The crash happened along US 231 near Enterprise Road, where there was snowfall on the road.
Nobody prepared for the total icing of the whole county. And it's a big county. And ours, you know, obviously the whole southeast was locked down, but you know, our county's big, especially when everything's frozen and stopped. And you got to get there. It'll take you 45 minutes of regular driving to go from the south to the north of our county. And that, we slowed down to what, 20 miles an hour probably at the most, whatever they can handle. And, you know,
right, you know, in law enforcement, we plan for every event. We plan for active shooter, for hurricanes, for tornadoes. We have a plan for pretty much anything, but we do not have a plan for a snowstorm in South Alabama. So that was something we had to kind of go on the fly. And luckily in this area, we can really rely on our partner agencies and really the community. The community really stepped up, and I've seen so many disasters throughout my career. Each and every time this community steps up, comes together, and we get the job done. And that's what makes this place special is, you know, I had people reaching out to me, hey, we've got a four-wheel drive, we've got chains, where do you need us at? Who can we pull out? We've got, you know, chainsaws, are there trees down? And they really stepped up, and it was really overwhelming.
If I had never driven in snow before in my life, I wouldn't probably have driven at all during that event. I would have stayed put, had someone drive me around, get the right four-wheel drive vehicle that can handle the snow and be in that vehicle. But yeah, trying to do something that you don't know what to do or how to do it is challenging for sure.
In Houston County, over 100 roads are expected to be closed at some point Tuesday. County crews will salt bridges that usually freeze first, but those crews won't be able to treat roads because there isn't enough salt.
My advice to people would be to get to where you need to be by a little after noon tomorrow and plan on being there for at least 24 hours. If we get an accumulation of snow, there's just absolutely nothing we can do about it. We're not prepared for it. We don't have equipment that can remove it from the roads, and it's going to be what it's going to be until it melts.
For the city, other things like warming shelters are a part of the preparation plan.
But also working with the nonprofits and the churches to make sure that there's some shelters that are open during the day and some places at night. And so we'll be monitoring it every hour because it changes.
For Dothan Police, they are treating this how they would any severe weather event, which means partnering with others to help the public.
We're also partnering with other departments like the Dothan-Houston County Emergency Management Agency. We also are in close contact with Dothan Utilities just in case there are utility outages in the area, which will significantly impact our traffic light.
I was playing the game at home at first, and then she started cleaning up around the house. But I was rushing her like, we have to go, because she kept saying she having contractions. Like, we have to go, we have to go.
I was supposed to get induced the next day because I was going to have him on my great-grandfather's birthday. So yes, sir, we were supposed to have him the next day.
Dallas Mitchell had quite the entrance.
I feel like Superwoman.
The family traveled towards Flowers Hospital, but they didn't make it.
I woke up having contractions, and I just ignored it, and he kept telling me to call the doctor and come on, and Excuse me, I was like, I had to finish cleaning up the house before we ended up leaving.
When our water broke, we was pulling off. We went to the second light. When we got to the second light by Krispy Kreme, then I'm telling the operator, like, the baby head, I can feel his head, I can feel his head. But I was trying to hold him in, like she said. Then when I turned on down by Krispy Kreme, the baby head shot out. I was holding the baby in my hand. She missed a little couple things out, but I was holding the baby in my hand.
By the time paramedics arrived, 5 pounds, 14 ounces Dallas had been born.
I was reading the comments, and a lot of people were saying that we should name him Glaze, but a lot of people in our family do call him Glaze for a nickname.
Storm.
What worried me? Just the unknown. Of course, loss of power. Anytime we lose power, you've got so many people who are dependent in the community who are elderly on heat and different medical devices. I had a couple pregnant mamas reach out to me and said, "Hey, we're pretty far along in our pregnancy. We're worried, the roads are shut down." We had one that called me and her water broke. So I sent a female deputy to pick her up and escort her all the way to the southeast. So anytime you lose power or the road conditions become impassable, you always have concerns like that. But that was one that really stood out to me.
There's a live look with my phone focus. I'm going to put my other glove on too because last time my right hand got a little too cold. So give me just a second here. All right, so there's a look downtown. Look at the snowfall rate. It is incredible to see how much snow is coming down. This is like being in a snow globe. It really is. I never thought I would see this living in Dothan, honestly. There's a look at the ground. And I was out here a little while ago, and you can barely see my foot. Look, let's see. So there's a look. I mean, there's, I don't know, a couple inches anyway. But this is blowing, so this is not the greatest place to actually measure the amounts. But check out the street lights, and at night it really shows up so well. So there's all the snow coming down. It is so slippery just walking. The roadways are completely covered now.
Kristen and Alex McCarthy sit on the couch watching their favorite TV show, bonding moments they cherish. Moments Kristen held on to during the time she was away from her daughter.
So I left last Friday for Denver, Colorado, and I was supposed to return on Tuesday.
The day of historic winter weather for the Wiregrass.
At 11 o'clock, we started to experience precipitation. By 11:30, it began to freeze.
The runways were closed, and Kristen had no choice.
I could not get out of it. It was a last-minute work trip. There was no safe way to get me home. So I was stuck in Denver.
As a mother, the only thing on Kristen's mind was getting back to her little girl as soon as possible.
It was pretty hard. I really missed her. Sometimes in the day, I just kind of felt really sad.
But when you're separated from your child and you have no choice in the matter, zero, you lose all rationality.
After multiple attempts to catch a flight in improved weather conditions, Kristen was on her way home.
Ryan, so the forecast, a lot of snow fell on Tuesday. You said 5 inches, not 5.5 inches. That's right, I did.
Where we want to show you just how dangerous conditions are right now. Take a look at your screen. Here is the second reported crash we've learned of. This is on Ross Clark Circle. A woman says it was her first time driving in snow and she will never drive in it again.
We were tired after 3 days.
That's a big increase for sure.
But, I had no deputy complain at all. We kept them fueled, we kept them fed, kept them motivated. At the end of the day, we made through it. So we learned a lot. And the next one will be hard, but it won't be as hard.
I don't want to let anybody down, but you know, that day and during those times like that, when the system is really stressed, you really got to dig deep and rely on your people. And like I said, the people that the deputies at Sheriff's Office really stepped up.
Here's a look at one of the graphics that I made for the snowfall potential that morning. I updated this pretty much throughout the day or two leading up to this event. And this was kind of my final take at it, and then I kind of gave up on it because it became very, very clear that we were going to exceed these expectations as that snow started to come down. My last attempt at it, I gave a really, really good portion of the region a chance to see around 3 to 5 inches of snow with some locally heavier snowfall amounts. Snowfall totals a little bit lighter than that, farther off toward the north and farther off toward the south. And again, I pretty much threw this whole thing out because at the end of the day, we wound up by far exceeding those expectations. Check out some of these high-end snowfall totals that we saw around portions of the region on January 21st. Babby over in Covington County in Alabama saw almost a foot of snow. 11 inches of snow fell there. Opp saw 9.5 inches of snow. Enterprise saw 8 inches of snow, as well as Midland City, pretty close to the airport in Dothan, but not quite there. They also saw 8 inches of snow. Even over in southwest Georgia, Blakely and Donaldsonville also picking up on 7 inches of snow. And there were several other locations that saw snowfall totals very, very similar to that. The official snowfall total that went into the record books out at the airport in Dothan came in at 5.5 inches, but I know out across the southern portions of the circle, some of those snowfall totals got close to 6, 7, or even 8 inches of snow. That event gave us our 7th day where we saw measurable snowfall on record out at the airport in Dothan. That had only happened 6 times previously. The one before that, January 17th in 2018, when we saw 0.2 of an inch of snow.
So typical South Alabama winter, you know, no snow, just gets cold for a few weeks and then it's over with. So, you know, seeing a little bit of snow as a child was always something special.
And was that pretty rare?
Very rare. I remember one time, early 90s when I was a kid, it had some pretty good snow, but that was about it.
I think that kind of an event was a once in a 150-year type event for this part of the country.